What's up guys, my name is ESO and welcome back to the channel. Now this has been a long time coming because a lot of you keep asking me what gear I use for my gaming setup. So today I'm going to go through all of my gaming gear and also my PC specs, which are actually quite old. So what I've done is I've actually made a recommended spec list that if you're buying a PC today and building it yourself, these are the parts to buy that are going to be the most value for money. But before we do, I just want to remind you guys that you really don't need expensive gear to be able to become a YouTuber or make videos. You really don't. I mean, if you take a look at my YouTube channel and you go to my old videos and then you sort by the date they were added from the oldest, you can see the first video I ever made, which is here, Brink, all unlockable armor and customizations. And now this video I actually made when I borrowed my mum's Canon compact camera, stacked a bunch of books in front of my crystal screen TV, and literally recorded the gameplay from the camera up against the screen. It was, and you can see from the video that it does look pretty trash. And I mean, even the editing software I use was Microsoft Windows Movie Maker, I believe it was. So it just looks terrible, but it still got 30,000 views when I first published it. There's no audio or anything like that, apart from what the camera was recording. So a very trash video. And it was the first video on the channel, and it really gave me a kickstart to my success. But then after that, just to fill you in, for about 2 years, I didn't speak in any of my videos. I didn't even show my face. I was a very shy person. Well, I wasn't shy in real life, but for some reason I was reluctant to talk to myself in videos because it is a weird thing to do. So here we have the Ebony Ingot Guide, which is a completely text-based guide. The resolution is terrible. The video was recorded in square and the FPS is horrible. Yet the video has 232,000 views because it's not about your recording software. It's about making content that people need to watch, and that can be high quality, well produced content, but that's only literally 10% of the battle. At the end of the day, you still need to make something that's good, that people actually watch. And though this was a terribly recorded video, it demonstrates that you don't need expensive gear to be successful on YouTube, and I cannot say that enough. So don't go buying everything you see in this video thinking, oh yes, this will make me successful, because it won't. At the end of the day, it's down to you to sort out the other 90% of what you're making. So if you guys check out the link down below, I've already made a list of everything I'm going to go through in this video. All of my equipment is there, all on the Amazon storefront that I've made just for you guys, so you can go over and order anything that you find interesting. You can check it out now, but in the video I'm basically going to be going over why I like all of my equipment, and it's equipment I've been using for years. I'm going to go over some of the updated equipment that I've already linked below for you guys, because there's some things that I might change about it, and I'll tell you why as we go through it. None of this video is sponsored by any of the companies, though I really do wish Logitech would sponsor me, because they're a great company in my opinion, or all of these other kind of audio companies I've worked with, but none of them are sponsoring me. So this is all just my opinion on these products, and the products I've used for ages, and I'd recommend them to anyone. So let's get started with the basic gear. Starting out with my Logitech webcam, you can see here at the top. Now this is something I think a lot of people think you need, like this amazing webcam, but really this here is what you need. This is a C922 Pro streaming webcam that records 1080p footage. It's the best webcam you can literally buy, and it only costs $82. It also records at 60 FPS at 720p, though to be honest 30 FPS is fine for what 90% of people are going to be doing. As long as your gameplay is 60 FPS, doesn't matter if your webcam is only 30 FPS, it's not even noticeable. And also you've got to consider the only upgrade beyond this webcam is literally having this SLR camera, which does record in 4K by the way, but having this recording you instead of your webcam, which is a lot more complex to set up and also a lot more expensive. So I don't actually recommend using an SLR as a webcam, because at the end of the day, you're going to be shrinking your webcam down into the corner of the screen. So it's not even going to be like true 1080p, because you've shrunk it down so it looks even better than it actually is when you're using a software like OBS, for example, to like layer your footage, which I'll go over in another video if you guys want that. But OBS is basically a free recording software I use to set this up with my desktop recording and my webcam. So you don't need anything more than this. 1080p Logitech webcam, you cannot go wrong. Make sure that you get the C922 version though, because that's actually the slightly older version now, but the newer version has a wider screen, but you don't need a widescreen webcam, and it actually has lesser quality because it's gone widescreen. So you want the 922 version of it. Make sure you get that right. Again, it's all linked down below, so you really can't go wrong. Next, guys, we're going to talk about my keyboard. This is something I've made a few changes on. So we have a look over here. This is my Razer keyboard. So if you listen to how this sounds, it's actually quite loud, isn't it? It's a mechanical keyboard. So the best thing about mechanical keyboards, first off, is that they're super responsive. So like the keys click right back up, and you can like sit there and like button mash, or if you're playing like me, I play quite a bit of League of Legends. So this kind of keyboard is perfect for that. But the only issue I have with it is it's audible over the microphone. So what I would suggest getting, this is a Razer keyboard, by the way, and it's got RGB lights that can change color and all that fancy stuff, which you don't need, but it looks awesome, doesn't it? Let's be honest. So what I recommend actually getting is the Corsair keyboard, which also has RGB lighting and all that cool stuff, and it's also mechanical, but it's silent mechanical keyboard. So basically, instead of those clicking sounds, you have this nice smooth silent sound effect like a laptop keyboard, which is a lot nicer. And especially if you're playing an intense game that you're recording, you don't really want that like low threshold of sound, like background annoying sounds of the keyboard to come up on your recording, because it's just doesn't sound great. Or if you're playing games with friends, it's always annoying. So I recommend that you actually go for the Corsair version of the keyboard, based on what I know now. I would upgrade to it, but it's money that I don't really need to spend, and there's other things I want to upgrade first, so I've not done that yet myself. But the next thing is the microphone. So what you're listening to now is my microphone, which most of this video is going to be recorded on because it's really good microphone. It's the Blue Yeti Pro microphone, which costs about $250, which is expensive, and I'll be going over a budget option in a second. But you can hear the difference. This is the Rode Pro video microphone, which is a shotgun mic, so it records like directly where you point it, and it's really good. But it's for vlogging, and it's for like walking around with a microphone. This is a plugged in microphone, so it's much better for what we want to do and what 90% of you will be using it for. So I would, for that reason, go for this beautiful machine. It also has lots of options on it, so you can like change it to interview mode and have someone sitting across the table, and or you can make it one direction like it is now. So if there's cars driving past outside, you won't be able to hear them on the recording. I can actually change it so it's just recording this direction basically, so just me. And then if you want a slightly more budget option, you have instead the Blue Yeti Snowball microphone, and this is a really good choice. It's only $50. It's what I first upgraded to from my integrated laptop microphone back in the first videos where I started talking. Those of you will remember I had a horrible integrated microphone on my Alienware laptop, and it just, you could hear like the fan whirling in the background. It sounded trash basically. So this is the next best thing. But obviously the sound quality you get from going from the Snowball to the Yeti Pro is massive. And Yeti, just as a microphone company, are fantastic. Can't recommend them enough. So guys, the next thing I want to go over is the Logitech Mouse, which I'm using right here. It looks like a stealth fighter jet. Look at this. Beautiful piece of craftsmanship. It's a very reliable mouse that I've been using for a long time. It's really good for playing like League of Legends or FPS games like CSGO, ones where you need quite like hand-eye coordination and accuracy. But also what I like about it is you can change the speed of the sensitivity of the mouse, which is nice. And you also have 1, 2, 3, 4 hotkeys, which are good if you're playing MMOs, or if you just want to like flick forward and back music tracks that you're listening to while you're playing a game or something. And it also, underneath, if you take a look, it has this pop-out section. Sorry about the cat hairs, if you can see that. I have cats and it just, the hair gets everywhere. They're molting now. And you can add weights in, and it does come with weights. I've taken them all out because I just didn't think I needed that. I preferred it when it was light. But you can customize it a lot, is basically what I'm trying to say. I have reasonably large hands, and I mean, this is perfect for how high I hold a mouse. It's like very ergonomic, very comfortable, lots of grip in the right places. So I really like it. Also, if you are looking at other mouses, make sure you get like a material wire, because that material wire stops it like snagging and getting stuck on like any kind of surface on your desk. So like if you have like a rubber wired mouse, that's going to be a problem for you. I prefer wired because batteries running out at the wrong time is the worst kind of thing. So no thank you. I go for wired all of the time. The next thing, of course, is really important. Comes with the mouse is the mouse mat. I went for a SteelSeries standard mouse mat. You can get any kind of mouse mat like this. Basically, it's just got a rubber bottom, so it doesn't slide around your desk. It's also quite large because I like to be able to go from like here to here and go across both my monitors in one swing, as it were. And it's kind of got this like tightly woven fabric, which you obviously can't really see on the camera, but it's just this nice sort of thing that you can easily slide across, but it also picks up the laser on the mouse, so you know you're never going to get like your mouse skipping like you do on other plasticky cheap mouse pads. Though to be honest, this mouse pad wasn't expensive. I think it was like maybe $20 max. Alternatively, if you have more money to spend, I would recommend going for the SteelSeries mouse mat with the RGB lighting, which is basically a mouse mat which has lights around the outside. This one here, you can see, costs $55, but goddamn, you have a light up mouse mat, and it's super wide, so you can put like your mouse and your keyboard on it, and it just looks swishy swish, mate. Swishy swish, whatever that means. Speaking of mice and controllers, the next thing we have here is my controller. My Xbox 360 controller, which, oh god, I mean, this thing has been through it all. I actually kind of like playing on a controller because it lets me like sit back, relax, and just do a little bit of gaming casually. And I literally religiously play Skyrim on PC with a controller, so I just prefer it. I think that, I mean, before they had Sky UI come out, the menu system just works so much better with a controller. Now, Xbox One controller I actually recommend because it's a lot nicer. I do have an Xbox One controller, but this is just like, this is here and that's over there, and I've only got one for the Xbox and one for the PC. So I use an Xbox 360 controller, but you know, if you want to cheap out, the 360 controller is still an amazing controller, really durable and everything. The Xbox One controller, the triggers, there's just so much, it's a better controller for sure, especially if you've got big hands like me. So I recommend that, guys. The next thing I want to go over is back to the audio. So obviously, audio is really important, especially if you're recording and then editing, because you don't like, so basically for my desktop speakers, I have these over here, M Audio. Oh, yes. M Audio with 4-inch woofers. And there's two of those. So there's one there and there's one up there. I don't know if you can actually see that very well. But they're really good, really high quality. M Audio is just a great brand in general. $150, I think they sent me back. And they're just, the quality is fantastic. So the thing about these is they're bassy. So they're still nice to listen to music on. But they're not stupidly bassy, so you can still play FPS games with explosions and racing games and be like, oh yeah, listen to that sound, it sounds amazing. It's definitely an upgrade to my like $50 speakers that I was using previously, a massive upgrade. You have to like wear them in a bit, but the sound gets better and better. But the sound that comes out isn't overly bassy. So what I mean by that is, if you're recording and editing, you want like true sound. you want to actually be able to hear what you sound like and not have really exaggerated bassy undertones to everything. So when you're actually editing, and it's more important if you're like into your music and that kind of stuff, but you can actually hear how things sound. So if you prefer like dubstep or something like that, you might want to go for a different audio system, which would probably be cheaper, but has a big bassy undertone that you probably prefer, and it's also really fun for games as well. Which also brings me onto my headphones, because they're the exact same thing, but they are like super high-end headphones. So these the glass head, but if you want the glass head, that's about I think $10 to $20 on Amazon. I know eBay, I think you can get it. Really dirt cheap glass head. So it looks awesome, but it's super cheap, and they posted it for free despite it like being really heavy. I don't understand. But anyway, these are the DT990 Pro limited edition, this version, because they're black headphones. They're 250 ohm, and you have to wear them in again. They're like proper headphones that give you true sound, and the surround sound on these is incredible. So like if I put them on here, it really cups your ears, and everything outside is muted, and you have like, it just, you're playing video games with surround sound, and it just sounds like racing games. Oh, it's amazing. It's like you're actually there. You're like completely immersed in those games. I mean, wow. You listen to, like, go into a store, listen to these, put on like some tracks or some music, and the sound difference you get is incredible. Now, obviously, these are... This has a large jack, and if you plug these straight into your computer, you're not going to be able to hear anything, because your computer is not, the sound card on your computer won't be powerful enough to actually like listen to these. So what you actually are going to need is this thing here. It's a sound card. Now you can get cheap sound cards at $100 or so, get you a decent sound card. This right here is a Lexicon though. It's a bit of an antique right now. But I got it because Lexicon, like obviously it's from Skyrim. So yeah, they've got a Lexicon, mate. A Dwemer artifact, as it were. It's almost an antique now. But my friend, who's very into sound design, making music, ultimate immersion, he also helps me out on the Skyrim mod list and runs the website. He uses one of these, and he said, "Oh, get this, it's really good." So I was like, okay. And I think that was like almost a bit cheaper than the headphones, but still expensive. But you can mix everything and mess around with this. To be honest, I don't really need something this fancy. You can just get like probably quite a basic sound card and you'll be fine. But I'll just put my recommendation of sound card for you to get. But you get like a bunch of different options, like headphone volume, mic in, line 2, line 3, and output volume and whatnot, depending what you want to go for. But it depends on what you need. But ultimately, headphone sound really important for editing and gaming. It's one of those things, like the higher up you go, the more you appreciate it, and you're like, you can't go back. Obviously, other headphone wise, if you don't want to get a sound card and you don't want to go as far out as I have, I would recommend like the Razer headphones are nice. SteelSeries is also nice. The reason I always say nice though is because the price, they look awesome, but literally over 50% of the budget of those headphones has, or even more than 50%, has gone into the design to make them look cool. So yeah, they look cool, but they don't sound that good. So you actually, watch some reviews of headphones, get other people's opinions, because a lot of people are just like, oh, Razer, SteelSeries, all these brands, Alienware is the best. And they look awesome, don't get me wrong, but like proper sound equipment like that is going to be like where it's at, I would say, with most of these companies. I've probably just BM'd myself on getting a sponsorship with one of these companies, which I'd love. But I still love your keyboards and mouses, guys. So, if you want to sponsor me, but ultimately that's my 2 cents on their headphones. They look amazing, but you're going to get better sound if you spend more money. But that's kind of like pretty basic understanding of most things in life. Spend more money, get better equipment, I guess. But make sure you spend it in the right places is what I'm saying. So we have gone over a lot of things now. Let's start talking about the green screen. So as you can see, I've got a green screen behind me, which is why you can't see the background. Woo! And one of the things that you need to make this work, first of all, is lighting. So let's talk about lighting first. So you can see over there, I have a basic studio light, cost about $30. I recommend actually getting at least one, if not two of them, or a ring light instead. Ring lights are the best thing, so if you have the money, just get a ring light. I don't have one yet, but that's what I want, because they're really good. They get like an even lighting over your face. Right now, you can see my studio light is coming from this side, and you can see that it's not completely, it's casting shadow over the green screen in the background here, because I'm quite like close to the wall here. You don't want this fuzzy thing behind you. Usually it would be in a different position. I just had to move things around for the camera setup that I have at the moment. So you can see that fuzzy line, but a ring light behind my monitor would completely cancel that out. So I recommend going for like a ring light like this. This is my best recommendation of ring light that I am going to buy when I save up the money. $100, comes with a stand as well, so you can like adjust it to be higher than your monitor. Just put it behind your computer and you're all good to go. And then also these LED lights are really good. These are the more expensive version, but they're so bright, like literally blindingly bright. If you're like doing some kind of project or something, go for these. You won't go wrong. They also come with all the tripods as well. You can also get one like this for about $30. So do bear that in mind as well if you want to shop around. Next thing is the green screen. So this over here, guys, is the green screen. You can see it behind me. I've been watching it for a while now. It is literally just two tripods with a pole over and a green canvas behind it. I mean, it's a very simple setup. You can actually paint the wall behind you green and you're fine. Now, the whole point of having a green chroma key like this is that when you're recording, you're probably not wearing luminous green, so it's always like in contrast to what you're wearing, so you can cancel out this color behind you, which is why it's always a green screen is what they call it. But it could be dark blue, it could be yellow, it could be whatever, but green is the best chroma key to go for in my experience. Or you can get a fold up green screen just here, which I used to use because I used to travel to and from university quite a bit, and I needed something that I could package up, so I'd get a foldable green screen. It basically folds into a circle about this sort of size, I think this size. Once you've done it a few times, you'll get used to it. But the first time you try and turn this giant green screen into a circle again, it's really difficult. So you'll get used to it though. It's only $40 and it's just a very compact system. If compact is what you need and you don't want to go for a $50 green screen scaffolding setup because you don't have room or something. Then we have the gaming chair. Now, this right here is my chair. You can see it's a wrought iron, like nice chair. It costs about $800. It's like quite a famously designed one, and because I used to be an architect, I'm like proper into like chair design and stuff. So this one's really ergonomic. I actually got it refurbished, super dirt cheap for like about $300 I think it was back when I first brought it 3 years ago, and it's really good. It's got like a back support thing and everything, but it's for most people like just on the too expensive for a chair side. So what I've actually done is I've put my girlfriend's chair just here. Now, this is a really good chair for what you get. It looks awesome. It looks much better than my chair actually. But she used this and I sat on it. It's kind of like a little bit, well, it's not cheap feeling, but compared to this, it's obviously like cheaper. But it's got like this back support thing that just makes you kind of sit upright and in a good position, which is super important to have good posture if you're like me and you're sitting at a desk for like 8 to like 12 hours a day or something ridiculous sometimes. And you do catch yourself slouching. So this just gives you that correct posture and way to sit. So yeah, I recommend this as my chair for most gamers, and it looks awesome. I mean, god damn, son. Okay, so we've gone over most of my whole gear setup, as it were, apart from this camera right here. This is the Sony Alpha 6500 camera with a wide angle lens and a shotgun mic with a extendable arm, which basically like plugs onto your desk, which is so good if you're like recording painting videos or like drawing videos and you want like a top down perspective for your camera, like over your shoulder or something, is really good. Or you can just get a tripod. I'll link that down below as well, though it's not like you're never really going to get to that point where you need it unless you want to vlog or you want to record 4K webcam pictures where you're constantly zooming in and high quality is really important to you. But as I said at the start, you don't need it. But the next thing I want to go over is my computer specs. Now, my computer is about 3 years old now. So what I've done on the website page, if you go to my gear list, you can see my gaming gear, my Extreme PC 2019 updated gear, which is basically like a, if money's not really too much of an object, this is all the components you'd need to just build like a 4K gaming system that's literally going to hold you over for the next, I'd say, at least 4 years. I mean, my PC's been going 3 years with its current system and is absolutely fine. Like, I don't have a problem running anything. I can max out Skyrim, 60 FPS, 1080p full screen or even windowed or whatever I want, and just completely modded to the nines and like 300 or so mods or more, graphically enhanced and everything, and it's absolutely fine. And I mean, to be honest, I find Skyrim graphically enhanced more taxing on my PC than all of the new games coming out and running them at 60 FPS. So you are going to future-proof yourself if you go for like a build like this. And that's a build-it-yourself PC, by the way. So you might want to get a friend who knows what they're doing, or just be like, hey, go to a gaming shop and be like, hey, these are all the parts I want. I want to build a computer. And they might recommend you a pre-built one. But ultimately, you're going to save money by building it yourself. Honestly, it seems really complicated, but it's not that hard. You can literally follow a YouTube tutorial and maybe just like call someone up and invite them around just to double check what you're doing is correct. But it was pretty simple when we did it. I've also got a budget gaming PC, which is like between $500 and $600, which will play a lot of games. Though if you want like a fully modded Skyrim, you're going to be like getting towards the outer limits. So all of these gaming setups on my store page on Amazon, I'm going to constantly be updating them, adding to them, as well as my gear. It's all going to be like replaced over the years with the latest stuff that I'm buying and I'm using. So if you're watching this video like 2 years down the line, like there's going to be new stuff there that maybe I didn't mention in this video, but it's like what I'm using, what I've tried, what I've tested, what I know is good. So you can always like trust my opinion on what's going to be there. The last thing I want to talk about is software, which I use would be Sony Vegas Pro for video editing. Now you can get free video editing software, but I recommend as soon as you buy one, just go full on Sony Vegas Pro, because it's like you can do everything with it. It's what they use in like, movie making and things like this. And it's the program that like you spend some time to use it and to learn it like you would Photoshop. But that time's going to pay off later when you're not limited basically by the software. You're limited by your understanding of the software, which is the best way round. So I recommend that. And then also Photoshop, of course, I said, when you're making thumbnails, oh God, Photoshop, just the limitless of it is amazing. And it's going to be infinitely useful for everything you do. So I use Photoshop on a daily basis. I use Word a lot and Excel for like graphs, statistics, and writing scripts for videos, because sometimes I do write scripts. They're not all just, voiced randomly. A lot of effort goes into some of them, and making sure I'm not sitting there wasting your time like I am now, just waffling on. And then OBS is the free open source recording software most people use for streaming and recording, and it allows me to put my face in front of, you basically layer footage on itself, and you can do loads of stuff with it. There's loads of tutorials on that though. So guys, that's pretty much my whole gaming setup. I might have missed something. I don't know. I mean, I've got a record player up there. I've got some records just there. There's some other cool stuff in this room I've not gone over, but that is the basis of it. You can find the whole list linked down below in the description. I believe Amazon is having some kind of sale thing this weekend. So if you're on Amazon Prime, I think you get like an extra discount if you want to order anything here. Don't rush into anything. Do your research, watch other people, see what they use, see their opinions about stuff. Go into the store and try out these headphones especially, and gaming chairs for sure. Try those out and see what you think. But yeah, check out my Amazon store page. If you do choose to buy anything through there, I get, I think, between 1% and 5%. but you don't need to. I did this video more to help you guys out because so many of you constantly ask me, and I've never done a video like this explaining what I use. So thanks for watching me, ESO, and I will see you in the next video. Have a fantastic day, and goodbye. Woo!